Hey kids, Debbie, Sadie, Abigail, and I are on the road again. Can you guess where we are? That's right, we're at Niagara Falls. We're actually on the Canada side of the falls, which you can see in the background here. They're also called the Horseshoe Falls. And if we rotate around briefly, you can see the American Falls in the background here. Visiting Niagara on the Canada side is definitely the better choice if you're going to come visit here. Before we got here, we camped overnight at a dairy farm and then came to Niagara and have been exploring. There were lots of things to see and do here, so we hope you enjoy the video.
The Canadian Niagara Parks Commission operates many of the tourist sites around the Niagara Falls and the 57-kilometer stretch of the Niagara Strait around the falls. Deb, Abigail, and I visited most of these sites during the 4 days we were in Niagara. With so much to do, we were very tired at the end of each day. The Journey Behind the Falls experience takes you down 125 feet to explore 130-year-old tunnels that take you both next to and behind the Horseshoe Falls. As you will see in some of the pictures and videos, you will get wet on this journey. Before we descended the 125 feet, we learned two interesting facts about Niagara. First, although it's named the Niagara River, it's actually a strait. A strait is a waterway that connects two large bodies of water. The Niagara Strait connects Lake Erie to Lake Ontario. The second fun fact about the Niagara Falls is they were moving towards Lake Erie at the rate of about 1 meter per year due to erosion. After the hydroelectric plants and dams were put in place, the erosion rate has slowed to about 1/3 of that rate. At the current rate, the falls will erode their way back to Lake Erie in about 50,000 years. So make sure you visit the falls soon before they go away. No trip to the Niagara Falls would be complete without taking a boat ride up to the falls. You definitely want to wear clothes that dry quickly because you will get wet on the boat ride. There are boats that leave from both the American and Canadian sides of the river. You can tell where the boats came from by the color of the rain ponchos that people are wearing. Blue for the US and red for Canada. It's a quick 20-minute ride, but as you will see later in this video, you'll get really close to the falls, the American Falls, Bridal Veil Falls, and Horseshoe Falls. The Whitewater Walk is a boardwalk along the shoreline of the Niagara River. You take an elevator down 200 feet to a tunnel that takes you to the boardwalk. As you walk along the boardwalk, you can feel the power of the Class 6 rapids in the Niagara River and see the 410-million-year-old rock layers of the Niagara Gorge. The Whirlpool Aero Car takes you over the Niagara River where it makes an abrupt 90-degree turn. Due to the sharp turn, a whirlpool is created that is mesmerizing to view, especially from the Aero Car. The Aero Car has been in operation since 1916. Although it can be a bit scary to ride so high over the river, the Aero Car has safely taken people for over 100 years. The Niagara Parks Commission also operates several sites that commemorate the Canadian Niagara heritage. We found them to be fun and educational. Our first stop was Fort George. During the War of 1812, the American campaign focused on Fort George. In the fall, repeated artillery duels between Fort George and the American Fort Niagara damaged defenses on both sides of the river. In May 1813, a massive bombardment by American artillery batteries pounded the fort into a smoking ruin, leaving the powder magazine as the only building to survive. 2 days later, the Americans invaded, forcing the outnumbered British to withdraw. The Americans refortified the site, and for the next 7 months, Fort George and the town were enemy-occupied territory. Today, you can walk around the reconstructed fort and see what it was like to be a soldier back in the 1800s. Our next stop was the Laura Secord homestead. Laura Secord walked 32 kilometers, which is almost 20 miles, to warn the British of a surprise attack being planned by the Americans in the War of 1812. Touring her homestead gives a glimpse of what life was like in the 1800s, at least for the moderately wealthy. After touring Laura's homestead, we walked over to the Mackenzie Printery. This historic landmark is where William Lloyd Mackenzie began his political career with his newspaper, The Colonial Advocate, dedicated to political and social reform. Launched in 1824, the paper became a very popular and was printed bi-weekly for its 250 subscribers. The museum has several printing presses, including Canada's oldest wooden press, the Louis Roy Press. We even got to have our names printed in one of the presses. Our last stop on the Niagara Heritage Site tour was the McFarland House. The McFarland House was built by John McFarland, spelled with a D, and likely has no relation to the McFarlands without a D. It was built in the early 1800s. The McFarland House was used as a military hospital during the War of 1812 by both Americans and the British. It is the oldest property owned by the Niagara Parks Commission. For anyone who likes butterflies, the Niagara Parks Commission runs the Butterfly Conservatory. This 11,000 square foot conservatory is home to over 2,000 vibrantly colored butterflies. If you are lucky and can hold still long enough, one of them may land on you. Another colorful attraction you can visit is the Floral Show House. The show house has 3 indoor greenhouses that put on different floral exhibits each year. There's also an outdoor path that takes you past several impressive floral sculptures. Be sure to look for the large dragon in the pictures later in this video. The final attraction we'll highlight in this video is the power station and tunnel. It was my personal favorite attraction. The power station was a hydroelectric plant that operated for over 100 years. The plant harnessed the power of the water traveling to the falls to generate electricity for the Niagara region. It required excavating a 2,200-foot long tunnel that lies 180 feet underground. The tunnel ends at the base of the Horseshoe Falls and provides a spectacular view of them. Although the plant is not in operation today, all of the original equipment used for generating the electricity is still in place. Included in the tour is a ride in a glass elevator where you can see the pipes and shafts used to generate the electricity. At the bottom of the elevator is the 2,200-foot long tunnel that takes you to the falls. During our visit to the power station, there was a special exhibit on Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla was one of the most prolific inventors of our time, and many of his inventions were used when they built the power station. The exhibit included a Tesla coil, which you will see and hear at the end of this video.